What is going on, you guys? It's your boy King Sanders here. We are back with another day of sports betting. This is going to be for Monday, January 9th slate of NBA action. I'm super excited to dive into it. We don't have a monstrous slate, but we do still have 6 pretty good games. I got to be honest, I don't really think that there's any games that are atrocious. I think that all of them should be pretty good. So I'm super excited to dive into it. But before we did, I did just want to go ahead and say we are still currently on the road to 11,000 subscribers. You guys have been showing a lot of support here recently, so thank you for that. But if you guys are new, make sure that you guys do like, comment, subscribe, turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. Next, I did just want to go ahead and give a quick shout out here to all of our members here on the channel. Thank you guys so much for everything that you guys do, and thank you guys so much for giving such a small channel such a big chance, as I always say. It truly does mean the absolute world to me, so much more than you guys will ever know. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into a quick recap as of yesterday. Man, we almost had another straight winning day. It was really, really close. So let's go ahead and dive into it. So, for our King Skill Shot play of the day yesterday, we had Jeremy Grant under 20.5 points versus Toronto, minus 115. This one did end up working out for us. Jeremy Grant really just didn't shoot a whole lot, and it ended up working out for us. I had mentioned that I thought that if anybody was going to go off from these teams, it would be Damian Lillard and Anthony Simons. Both those guys ended up having really good games. I know Dame dropped over 30, and I know Simons dropped over 20. So both of those overs ended up hitting. But I just thought it was a really tough spot for Jeremy Grant, and he finished right with 14 points. So it was kind of like exactly how my analysis how I thought it would go. Then we did end up having Jordan Clarkson under 21.5 points versus Memphis at minus 113. This one cashed, but not exactly how I wanted it to. We ended up going. He ended up with 4 points at the end of the first half. Okay, so I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, oh, this is going really well. I think that there's a pretty good shot for this to hit. Then he comes out and drops 13 points in the third quarter. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, wow, Jordan Clarkson just hit takeover mode. And I'm sitting there and I'm sweating. Then all of a sudden, Jordan Clarkson, he ends up getting into a little bit of a scuffle, ends up getting a flagrant 2 and ejected from the game. Definitely not how I thought that bet would cash, but hey, it ended up working out, and a win is a win at the end of the day. So it ended up working out for us. Then we had our losses of the day. We had Tyrese Halliburton over 31.5 points plus assists versus Charlotte, minus 120. He did get things going in the second half, but unfortunately for the offensive side of things, like scoring the ball, he really didn't do a whole lot until the end of the game and finished with 29. So it's not like it was like a complete terrible play or anything. Finishes just a couple points and assists short. Started off the game shooting just a little rough too, so it was just kind of a perfect storm, unfortunately, for us to lose that one. Then we had our added play. I got to be honest, if I would have found this play when I was making the video yesterday, this would have been my kill shot play of the day. I loved this play. But we had Jalen Williams over 16.5 points plus rebounds versus Dallas at minus 120. He'd gone over in 8 out of his last 9 games. He'd been really, really good to this line. And he started off this game really good. He had 12 points plus rebounds at halftime. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, whoa, okay. This might have been an absolute gem that we had found, right? Then he ends up scoring a basket, bringing him right to 14 points plus rebounds. Doesn't play much of the third quarter. I think the last 3 minutes of the third quarter. Then doesn't play any of the fourth quarter until 2 minutes left. Ends up losing it. So that one was a pretty tough beat, I can't lie. So we ended up going 2-2 on our plays. If you count our consensus play, which we did have the Cavs minus 4.5, no sweat whatsoever. If you count that, we did have another winning day, but overall we went 2-2 on our official plays. Kind of stinks, but it is what it is. And the crazy part is I put in 10 bets yesterday. I only lost 3 of them. And of course, 2 of them were some of the ones that I ended up putting in the video. So, it is what it is. But regardless, let's go ahead and dive into today's plays. I'm super excited to dive into it. We have a small slate, but I'm going strictly buckets today. You'll see in my plays, they're all point props. I'll be honest, they're all point props. But I'm really excited. I do like the spots here. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Our first official play of the day, our King's Kill Shot play of the day, is going to be Kristaps Porzingis over 23.5 points here versus the Pelicans at minus 120 odds. Now, he has gone under in 3 straight games with logs of 14, 22, and 22, and this number actually ended up getting boosted up from 22.5. Something tells me that this is going to be a day that Kristaps Porzingis is going to keep this game close. And on the season, the Pelicans do allow the 11th most points per game to opposing centers. And in the last 7 and 15, that number has bumped up to 4th. So without Zion on the floor, you can tell that this defense really does struggle, especially when it comes to the big man position, just in general. Also, the Pelicans do allow the 7th most three-pointers made to opposing centers. This is huge because, as we know, Kristaps Porzingis, a really good stretch big. He averages 5.3 three-pointers attempted per game. So if he ends up hitting 2 or 3 of them, getting to the basket for the rest, I think it's a really good spot. And also, he kills it at home. He's averaging 23.8 points per game at home, and he has covered in 4 out of his last 6 home games, and he only averages 20.5 on the road. So you're talking about an extra 3.5 points when it comes to the scoring department. Sign me up for an over in that one. And in games that Kristaps Porzingis has played the Pelicans, and he has had 30-plus minutes, he has a record of 4-2. So he has cashed this 67% of the time. I think it's a really good spot here to take an over. Pelicans do also give up 8 more points per game on the road. They're a much worse defensive team on the road than they are at home. And the Pelicans are 14th in defensive efficiency in the last 3. This is way down from what it is on the season. On the season, they're 5th. So I think it's a good spot. The Wizards are also 1.5-point favorites. If they're going to cover this, it's going to have to be on the hands of Porzingis. So I really do like this here for our first official play of the day, our kill shot play of the day. Porzingis over 23.5 points here versus the Pelicans at minus 120 odds. Now for our second official play of the day, we're taking one of our GOATs, but not in the normal way. We're taking Sabonis under 21.5 points here versus the Magic at minus 125 odds. Now, I know, it's the Magic, it's Sabonis. Sabonis has been really good. I get it. But they bumped his lineup, and I don't like it. He has gone under this line in 3 out of his last 4 games, and he has only hit the over in 1 of his last 3 games here versus the Magic. And in that game that he did end up going over, it was in overtime. So it's not like he's been absolutely crushing this Magic team. And the Magic do have a lot of bodies here to throw at a guy like Domantas Sabonis. I think that it's a really good spot. And the Magic in the last 7 games allowed the 3rd fewest points per game to opposing centers. They've been really good here to the center position. They throw a lot of different looks at them. And especially with guys like Wendell Carter Jr., guys like Bol, guys like Admiral Schofield, they have so many different bodies that they can throw at them, and they're only getting healthier. So I really do like this spot here for Domantas Sabonis to go under. And Orlando does allow the 9th fewest points per game in the paint, which is huge, and 3rd fewest in the last 3. They have not given up a lot of points in the paint, and that's where Sabonis does a lot of his work. As opposed to Kristaps Porzingis, who shoots a lot of threes and gets a lot of his points from 3, Sabonis, he spends a lot of time in the paint. And with that being said, the Magic just don't allow a lot of points in there. I think it's going to be very tough for Sabonis to be able to hit an over against a situation like this, and he is always liable for foul trouble. As we saw even last game, we took his over and it hit, but regardless, it's not like he crushed it by any means. So he ended up getting in foul trouble in that one. I think he can once again, especially with all these big bodies out here. I think it's going to be a tough day for Mr. Sabonis, so we're going to be riding with it. Domantas Sabonis under 21.5 points versus Orlando, minus 125 odds. Now for a third official play of the day, we're taking Jamal Murray. Over 18.5 points here versus the Lakers at minus 110 odds. I do like this for a couple different reasons. He has gone under in 4 straight, and he has finished with 2 hooks. So, I get it. Jamal Murray has not necessarily been great here recently, but that's kind of why I like it. I think he's due for a bounce back, and it's against the Lakers, who he has played really well against. He's gone over in 4 out of his last 5 games here versus the Lakers. And in the last 7 games, the Lakers do allow the 10th most points per game to opposing point guards. So they've been giving up a lot of points in general, but especially to that point guard position. So I think it's a really good spot here to take this over. And the Lakers are 27th in opponent points allowed, and they're 22nd in defensive efficiency. So they just don't really have a great defense. And I know that Thomas Bryant has been pretty good, so that's kind of why I went away from Jokic. So I do think that this is a spot where Jamal Murray could break free and have a really big game. He's gone under quite a bit, so he's due for another good game. It's just going to be a matter of when. And if you take a look at some of the recent point guards here versus the Lakers, De'Aaron Fox dropped 34, Trae Young had 32, LaMelo Ball had 24, and DeJounte Murray had 20. So, I mean, I know that he's not quite as great of a scorer, this season as some of those guys, but I mean, they a lot of the point guards have seen success. So I think that Jamal Murray can get hot here, drop 20, and we can call it a day. So I do really like it here for a third and final play of the day. Jamal Murray over 18.5 points here versus the Lakers at minus 110 odds. Now, we do have our consensus play once again. As I mentioned yesterday, did end up hitting. We had the Cavs minus 4.5. Extremely free. Today, the game is going to be the Bucks traveling over to New York to take on the Knicks, and the Knicks are 2.5 point underdogs. So, as of right now, we do have Brady. Brady is on the Knicks. We have Mitch. Mitch is on the Bucks. We have Ryan. Ryan is on the Knicks. We have Seth. Seth is on the Knicks. And I personally am going to be on the Knicks as well. So that is going to be the consensus play of the day. Knicks plus 2.5 here versus the Bucks at minus 110 odds. I just think that it is a very good spot here. I know that the Bucks are a great team. I get it. But the Knicks, they're at home. They're such a good team. They really have, surprisingly been a really good team. And it looks like RJ Barrett is going to be listed as questionable. That's really the only injury that they have. So that's really the only injury that they do have. I mean, they've been a very solid team here recently. And if they're going to be healthy, I like them as the dog. So we're going to be riding with it for our consensus play of the day. Knicks plus 2.5 here versus the Bucks at minus 110 odds. 4 cappers to 1. So that is going to do it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys do like, comment, subscribe, turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. Like I said, we're on the road to 11,000 subscribers. So if you guys are new, make sure that you guys are subbed. But that's going to do it for me. This is King Sander signing out. Peace.